Good morning, Peninsula High School. My name is Riley Morey. Our top stories today: Winterfest, PHS Photo Prize, Weather with Lila, Sports with Carson, and so much more today on Peninsula News. We need Winterfest volunteers. This year has been a record low in volunteer signups, and we can do better. Winterfest cannot run without us. Therefore, please go to your Class of Schoology page to access the Winterfest volunteer signup or contact Misty Menu in room 515. Peninsula High School student Hunter Kim took home third prize for his photo, The Aura of Marcus Kim, at the Madrona Photo Competition, part of the Madrona Music Festival of 2025. The theme was the great good life of the great outdoors. When asked what to do with his prize money, he replied, "I'll probably give it to charity." Our congratulations to Hunter. Great job. And now with this week's weather, we'll send it off to Lila in the field.
Good morning, Peninsula. I'm Lila Clear with this week's weather. Today is cloudy with a 10% chance of participation with a high of 51 and a low of 40. Thursday, we'll see the sun appear with a high of 53 and a low of 44. Wednesday, the clouds will reappear with a high of 51 and a low of 45. Saturday, we'll have a 20% chance of showers, cloudy skies, and a high of 51 and a low of 46. Sunday will bring more showers with a high of 51 and a low of 46. That's it for this week's weather. Back to you, Riley.
And now with this week's segment of The National, here's Trace.
Thank you, Riley. This is Trace Clements with The National. Last Wednesday, a bill reopening the government was signed into law. This comes after 43 days of the government shutdown, the longest seen in history. The government shutdown resulted in lack of funding across the country, with the majority of federal workers found without pay or put on leave. This resulted in major impacts like a lack of air traffic controllers causing flight delays or limited access to federal services. The cause of this shutdown is largely attributed to a dispute over funding Affordable Care Act tax credits, with parties disagreeing about its inclusion in the funding bill. The Senate largely remained in a standstill until members of the Democratic Party opted to pass a bill without the subsidies, reasoning that they did not feel that their Republican colleagues would opt for including them. After 43 days of disagreement, the final resolution does not include funding for the ACA subsidies, leaving them to expire in 2026. This does not necessarily mean that this is it. Future discussion and votes on the matter are still planned in the Senate. With the expiration of the subsidies coming soon, it has been made even more of a priority, and debate is to be expected. It is also important to note that the funding resolution is only to extend it until January 30th, where unless a new bill is passed, we could expect another shutdown. For now, critical services are back in operation, though harsh debates continue. As of now, it's unclear whether these debates will amount to a resolution before the January 30th deadline. Thank you. This was Trace Clements with The National. Back to you, Riley.
Now with this week's sports, here's Carson.
Thank you, Riley. This week in PHS Sports. Basketball season is finally here and is getting started with a home game against the Capital Cougars and Steilacoom Sentinels this Saturday. Come to Lincoln High School this Saturday the 29th at 2 to root for our Seahawks and get the season started off right. Coming up next week, tune in to hear all the updates on girls basketball. That covers it for this week. From the PHS Sports Desk with your Peninsula News Sports, I'm Carson Morrison. Back to you, Riley.
For more information about the world we live in, here's Katie.
Thank you, Riley. This is Katie Hutchison with your weekly world news update. Are you tired of hearing bad news? Me too. So here's some good things. Sea turtles are rebounding worldwide as nests and habitats are more protected. Once hammered by overhunting and habitat loss, sea turtles have preserved with their new protections and conservation efforts. A new study has found their populations are still rebounding even as oceans change. 2 Californian farmers were honored recently for being the first ones to help save over 20 students aboard a school bus that caught fire. Long before the Madera County Fire Department arrived on scene, Angel Zarco and Carlos Piera were there, and in fact, the pair noticed the smoke billowing from the back of the bus even before the driver. They quickly alerted the driver and helped evacuate all the students on board before hightailing it to a safe distance as the school bus began to burn. That's it for this week's World News. I'm Katie Hutchison. Now back to you, Riley.
That wraps up our broadcast for this week. My name is Riley Morey. I've been joined by Carson and Katie. Behind the scenes, thanks to our broadcast director, Ronan Goose, producers Trace, Hallie, June, Angelina, Kit, Brandy, Mr. Mix, student leader, school administration, and a big thanks to you all for watching. We'll see you here next week on Peninsula News.